That was an easy one yesterday. The Texans are 2-3 entering the bye week after a 44-10 brutalization of the Baltimore Ravens. It begs the question, does this win and the terrorizing of the Titans the week before have you back on the Texans bandwagon, or do you need to see a little bit more? I'm Paul Gallant, and this is the Gallant Says podcast. Hit it.
A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
Paul Gallant's wondering the same things a lot of people wonder.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to say.
Grow up, mother. You kidding me? Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
Hello and welcome aboard the Gallant Says podcast. It is Monday, October 6th, 2025, live on YouTube at Paul Gallant, on Twitch at Gallant Says, on X and Twitter, whatever you call it, at Gallant Says Pod, on Instagram at Sports Gallant, and on TikTok at Gallant Says. We're actually on this time around. Let's see if we actually don't get banned after just one show like we did last time. We didn't like that. It's available after the fact as well. Wherever you get your podcasts, just look for the Gallant Says podcast on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify. You can also send an email the old-fashioned way. GallantSays@gmail.com is how you send an email. Phones, 281-836-3912 is how you call. Hugh Dab asks on Twitch, did you figure out how to cash all the bits from Twitch? I don't even know what that means. Don't even know. If you want to cut me off mid-thought, the best way to watch the show is on YouTube. So if you super chat me, I'll play this.
Paul, stop talking. Listen.
But I will eventually get to your comments. So yesterday, I did not get to watch Texans Ravens live. I was keeping tabs on it the old-fashioned way by continuously checking the scoreboard on my phone. This is because I was driving back from Pendleton, Oregon with the girlfriend. We had gone to a wedding in Pendleton, Oregon on Saturday. It was very cool for one of her cousins. I spent most of the last week in Oregon, got to meet the family. I had a great time. So as I'm going to the airport, I'm thinking to myself, okay, is this one of those games that I'm going to have to watch? Because I don't want to watch it. I make this joke very often when it comes to the Astros playing against teams that stink. There are games that you can call the leave the kids or the dog in the car game, because it's going to be over quick. You're going to be back in the car quick. The key's in the ignition. The air conditioning's on. Relax. Relax. But those games are the ones that you feel like the team better take care of business. Take care of business handily, because if they don't take care of business handily, you're not going to be feeling so great about yourself afterwards, even if you do win. Titans are definitely one of those games, right? They stink. Still haven't fired their coach somehow. And they just had a miraculous win against the Arizona Cardinals yesterday, which featured a Cardinals player forgetting to bring the ball into the end zone. And one of the wonkiest interceptions turns into a fumble, turns into a touchdown that you will ever see. Ever. So you beat that team who finally got their first win. And then yesterday you were playing a Baltimore Ravens team with Cooper Rush under center, not Lamar Jackson, and a bunch of other Ravens players missing. This is also a Ravens team that, whether healthy or unhealthy, had the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL going into yesterday's game. That ranking, if it could get any worse, would have gotten worse. Dead last, Texans put up 44 on them. So the Texans did what I expected them to do, assuming that they have the talent that I've always believed them to have. This is one of those games that makes you angry No, not because the Texans won. It's hard to win in the National Football League. Every single coach, every single player, they will bore you to tears by giving you some version of that cliche. It's tough to win games in the National Football League. For sure. No, this game makes me annoyed and angry because I have believed in the potential of a CJ Stroud-led offense for a while. Since 2023, where not a lot of people were watching until the playoff game against the Browns. That was fun. Defense helped out a lot in that game, too. You play the Ravens the next round, you lose. Okay, this was a fun year. Next season, watch out for the Texans. And then all of last year, I don't know what the fuck happened to the offense. None of us know what the fuck happened to the offense. Yes, there were injuries, but I mean, they had Nico Collins. They had Tank Dell for a lot of the year. They had Stephon Diggs for half the season. You see Stephon Diggs last night? That offense should have been way better than it was last year. It was not. So, to see the Texans offense finally put it together in a game where CJ Stroud finished 23 of 27 for 244 yards, 4 touchdowns, only took 2 sacks, no interceptions. You see that, and you're thinking to yourself, why the fuck wasn't this at any point happening last year? I don't care if it's the 32nd ranked defense in the National Football League. I believed in this offense last year. I told people I believed in this offense last year. And yet every single time I brought them over to take a look at what was on my phone, they were unimpressed. That don't impress me much. Oh! The absolute worst. So to see this finally happen, you definitely love to see it, especially going into a bye week against a team that has had your number, no matter how banged up and injured they were. But I'm annoyed that I spent all this time talking up the Texans offense for it to finally show up yesterday in that 44-10 win. I'm glad for all those people who got to watch it live. I'm glad that I didn't feel guilty having missed anything because they took care of business. They also ran the ball 33 times for 167 yards. They averaged 5.1 yards a carry. I watched the replay this morning. Nick Chubb looked pretty good. Woody Marks not taking the leap that I think a lot of people expected him to. And then as far as the passing game for the offense, CJ Stroud spread the ball around. Christian Kirk, 4 catches for 64. Dalton Schultz, 5 catches for 60. Nico Collins, 4 for 52 and a touchdown. Jaden Higgins, 4 for 32. I don't even know who the fuck Brendan Bates is, but hey, 2 catches for 23 yards. Xavier Hutchinson had 3 catches for 18 and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Nola, 2 catches for 13 and a touchdown, and then did Ray Lewis's schizophrenic touchdown dance. All of that was great to see. And yet, glass half empty McGee here is still annoyed that I didn't see this at all last year. That's how I feel. Been waiting for something like this for a while, and against the worst defense in the league, it should be that easy. It should be. When you got CJ Stroud, it should be that easy. He's got the skills. He's got the accuracy. He's got the poise. That should have happened more last year. Ugh. But it was nice to see them get a win. It's a great win to go into the bye week on the heels of. Hopefully they don't get too big-headed about it. After all, this was a Ravens team with Cooper fucking Rush under center. But I wish I'd seen this last year because I know they were capable of this last year. I suppose you can't do anything about it now, and you just hope to see this on a more regular basis going forward. Let's read some comments here. Big Ball Squad 2021 says, no Lamar, doesn't count. Not Santa asks, did Mapes remember to change the kitty litter when you were gone? We haven't talked in a little bit. I'm still waiting for him to send over some things from the old show. No, I just leave the cat by itself when I'm gone on vacation. Anyway, Sup Joe K409. Jamie Consuela says, I bet the girlfriend drove. No, the girlfriend's mother drove us because we stayed at their place, which is in Dayton, Oregon on a farm. It's got a pumpkin farm. There's a pumpkin cannon and everything. And did some touristy things. We went to this little small town that was nearby, went to the Pacific coast, went to a waterfall. Oregon is a beautiful state. Did not really go into Portland. It's interesting seeing some of the reporting that's taking place in Portland. The people that I think are actually in Portland seem to think that not a lot is going on. Then again, there's some conservative-leaning folks who are there who believe a lot is going on. I don't really know what to believe. I didn't go into Portland to check it out for myself. It was nice to be away from the city for about 5 days or so. It's beautiful, beautiful state. Really is. Weather cooperated. Not that much mist. Never got too hot. It was great. Hell, even the eastern part of the state was something else. What other comments do we have here? Common Sense 200 says it's football time in Texas. Well, it definitely wasn't football time in Texas for the Texas Longhorns, who kept my Florida Gators head coach, Billy Napier, employed by blowing that one. Thanks, Arch. No one in Florida wanted that. No one wanted that. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Rick Hagewood says we should be 5-0 on met potential. Couple of plays here or there. They are 5-0, maybe 4-1. The Herd Theorem says Eugene Levy has kindly requested for you to send his eyebrows back. He wishes he had these eyebrows. He wishes he was this hot. But I've never heard that joke before, not once in my life. Christian Watson hit that like button for our main man, Paul. Yes, I appreciate that. Ryan Lawson, Texas says Woody Marks was blocking his ass off yesterday. Yes. Davis Mills was the one who was thrown into Brendan Bates. Okay. Didn't get to that point in the rewatch this morning. Would have been nice to see this more last year. I got to stop bitching about last year. Got to start talking about this year. Texans defense looked really good in this game too. Christian Watson says the Texans defense is like number one. I don't know if that's a result of, as some have pointed out, D'Amico Ryans handing over play calling duty to Matt Burke, or if it's a result of C.J. Gardner-Johnson being gone. I think a lot of people have pointed to that. I will point to the Texans defense, which has been impressive this year, feasted on two teams that stink and kicked their ass, which they should. They should do this to most teams in the league. This is one of the best defenses in the league. That's why I was so frustrated with them in that game against the Buccaneers, because of the missed tackles. They do miss a lot of tackles. Sure would be nice. That doesn't really work for Swarm if the Texans wrapped up. I think I put some stupid post out there last night. Maybe it wasn't last night. Maybe it was Saturday night. I forget. I was at a bar in Pendleton, Oregon for that one. What did I say? I said, I sure wish arms were more used whilst tackling. To talk about the Texans, who are missing so many tackles over the course of this year, despite the defense being pretty good. Anyway, what else do we have? We got some people on the TikTok side of things. What's up, Houston Concrete Art? I don't know how moderation works. We don't censor anybody. Levon Garcia asks, did the O-line look good, or is it that the Ravens defensive line is just not good? I think it's more the Ravens defense being very limited. There's a lot of guys missing for them. That's not to say that the offensive line hasn't improved, but it's definitely more, I think, this is who the Ravens are kind of deal. You know? Pharmacist says on the TikTok, there's plenty to bitch about this year. Yes, there is. Right, you are there, sir. Rick Hagewood says Damian Pierce needs to go so we can have a roster spot. I'd rather see Banger Brooks, we're calling him that, in cleanup duty. Yeah, Banger's better than British. I don't want to say British. I don't want to say that. Yeah, a guy named British Brooks is your fullback. I like that 3rd and 1 drive that that 3rd and 1 play that they had. The fullback dive that they handed it off to him. I can't remember the last time I saw a successful fullback dive work in the National Football League. Not a tush push, not a quarterback sneak. So that was interesting to see. Maybe use that a little bit more. The expectation for a team like the Texans going up against a team like these Baltimore Ravens is that you're supposed to destroy them. It's an unfair thing to expect complete and total destruction of teams in the National Football League, but it really is nice to see that the Texans were able to finally put one of these together against a team in Baltimore that's clearly limited. They got some things that they need to work on. And they got some guys that they need to get healthy. But this is what you are supposed to do. So it was nice to see that. But I can't help but feel a little bit like Jonathan Moxon's dad in the movie Varsity Blues. Have you ever seen that movie? It's a late 90s, early 2000s movie starring Paul Walker, Ali Larter, James Vanderbeek, the Kahn son, Scott Kahn, I think. James Kahn's son. There's a scene in that movie you probably remember. At least the quote that comes from it. Where, when confronted by his father, who has all of these expectations for him, Jonathan Moxon says this to his dad, who is hoping at some point in life that he's going to live up to his potential.
Your attitude's wrong. Your tone of voice is wrong. This is your opportunity
for you. Playing football at West Canaan may have been the opportunity of your lifetime. But I don't want your life.
I don't want your life. Iconic scene. But I feel like Moxon's dad, at the end of the movie, actually understood all the potential that his son had. Challenges him to knock a beer can from off the top of his head while drunk at a party amongst friends and parents of all the teammates on the Coyotes football team. And Moxon gets all pissy. I want to go to Brown. And then he decides to throw the ball almost out of spite directly at his dad's face. But his dad knew that he's capable of going in there and winning games for the Coyotes. And yet, Moxon just underachieves and underachieves and underachieves. How the fuck's he going to get into an Ivy League school? He's not. He's not. I don't believe that they were going to allow him in. And Brown's not even that good of an Ivy League school, but that's neither here nor there. Watching yesterday's game made me feel a little bit like Moxon's dad. I knew this Texans offense was capable of this. And it took until this day, after an entire year where it was never quite that easy, to see what we all thought CJ Stroud and this team could make happen. So the Texans are going into a bye week with a 2-3 record. You're feeling pretty good about them. And we'll see what they're able to do on the other side with the long week before they go up and play the Seattle Seahawks in a late-night doubleheader Monday Night Football game. We will see how that goes. There's some things that we do have to touch on. Things that I saw from afar. First, we have to discuss the big scandal from this game. For those who didn't see it, Jalen Knoll, who is a rookie wide receiver for the Texans that you're seeing a lot more as a returner these days, at one point in this game, he decides, while scoring a touchdown, to pull this dance off. The Ray Lewis schizophrenic, I'm a preacher touchdown dance, which, a lot of people are familiar with. So you saw the dance right there. A little bit later, Jair Alexander Ravens cornerback, who I don't think has been there long enough to, I think, give a shit about Ravens history, decides to try and take the football away. And he never actually is able to pull it away. Weird moment. Texans are pouring it on. They're unloading some much-needed frustration as they continue to really give it to slump busters. And, okay, don't get addicted to slump busters. Don't get addicted. Get back to the top shelf stuff eventually. But, hey, that's neither here nor there. And the Ravens were like, we're not going to take this. But Jair Alexander did not even take away the ball from Noel. That was his first ever touchdown. Of course, he wants to keep the ball. After the game, Jair Alexander talked about it. Here is what the Ravens cornerback had to say after the game. While speaking to, I guess, Ravens media. This is on the Ravens official team Twitter account. Here is Jair Alexander.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I seen him celebrating in the bank end zone. I didn't appreciate that while I was on the field. And then I seen him toss the ball to the ball boy, and then he tried to get it back. So I was just like, nah, you ain't getting the ball back. And they got mad,
I mean, who got mad? Who got mad? I don't think Jalen Noel was mad after scoring a touchdown. Definitely some advice going forward for any aspiring National Football Leaguers. If you score your first ever touchdown, keep the ball. And go to the sideline and give it to somebody who will keep it for you. Keep the ball. Got to be smart. But Jair Alexander's an interesting guy. He's got quite the history in the National Football League. You might remember Jair Alexander during a Panthers-Packers game in December of 2023. Alexander was playing in his hometown, Charlotte, and inserted himself into the pregame coin toss. After winning the coin toss, Alexander, who wasn't supposed to be out there, told the referee that the Packers wanted to be on defense. But if you don't know anything about a coin toss, you're supposed to say, we defer. Because if you say you want to kick, there's a chance that if you win the coin toss and say you want to kick, that the team that didn't win can say in the second half, we want to receive, to open up the second half. So that's why you always defer to the second half, essentially. And if not for someone stepping in, there was a chance that the Packers might have kicked off to open the game and kicked off to open the second half. So the Packers suspended him for this. This guy's a bit of a knucklehead. Alexander said afterwards that the experience taught him the importance of improving internal communication within the team, and he expected it to not happen again. Somehow they made the playoffs in 2023, but he was suspended. And then this past offseason, the Packers cut Alexander in June. So that's Jair Alexander, everybody. Bit of an interesting fellow. And for whatever reason, a guy who just started playing with the Ravens this year thought, I'm not going to let them dishonor Ray Lewis's schizophrenic dance. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to take the ball back. Hey, what's up, Chris Myers? How you doing, buddy? It's interesting seeing just the way things are going forward with stuff like this, celebrations. This is the second, I think, in 2 weeks. Second time that we have seen a football player and somebody with a ball boy fighting over possession of the ball. Where was the game where it happened? It was Pittsburgh and what was the other team? Some ACC game, I think. But Pittsburgh and somebody else, and I think Pitt ended up losing. Let me look this up real quick. Pitt ball boy incident. Yeah, it was against Louisville. This happened a week ago. I think the guy actually got interviewed. Zephian Wade. When we went to Pitt 2 years ago, said, Wade, we lost a lot of footballs. So one of our main goals and something our boss was emphasizing was making sure we get footballs back or attempt to. I was just trying to do my job. I didn't know it was going to turn into this. Pitt linebacker Rasheem Biles intercepted Miller Moss late in the first quarter, returned the football, which belonged to Louisville and is emblazoned with a Cardinal red Adidas logo, 75 yards for a touchdown. He took it to the Pitt sideline to celebrate. Wade tried to wrest the ball away. Biles grabbed Wade from behind, and a scramble for the football ensued. When I went to pick it up, next thing I know, I feel hands being grabbed and held. I'm like, what is going on? Pitt defensive lineman Isaiah Neal sprang to help Biles. Biles grabbed Wade's shirt, prevented him from retrieving the ball. Neal scooped up the loose ball before Wade could get it, heaved it over his head as Wade knocked Neal to the ground. An unidentified person on the sideline picked the ball up, tossed it back to Biles, who celebrated with a Euro step towards the stands and tossed the ball to his family. At that point, I started thinking we weren't getting the ball back, Wade said. Sometimes it doesn't happen. In case you haven't actually seen this little moment in time, I think we can get the clip, right? Let's see this one. Yeah, here we go. I mean, this was wild. I'll give credit to the ball boy hanging in there. He showed a lot more heart than Jair Alexander did yesterday. That's for damn sure. Like this guy's, he's 2-on-1. Almost was able to make it happen. And Jair Alexander is saying, yeah, I didn't let him get the ball back. What are you talking about? You did. He got the ball back. Ridiculous. So there you go on the squirrel dance gate, I guess, as it's being called, because that's what Jalen Knowles' dance was, and that's what Ray Lewis's dance was back in the day. Let's clean up some comments here. Jamie Consuela says, bring in DeAndre Hopkins. That catch that Hopkins had early in the game to get the Ravens into Texans territory did make me wonder if it was going to be a long day for the Texans defensively. Kamari Lassiter held Hopkins on the play. Wasn't able to break on the ball and get the deflection or interception. Hopkins set the Ravens up close enough to think, oh, wait, is Cooper Rush and this Ravens offense, are they going to score? But Texans get to stop there. And then from that point on, the Texans defense swarmed all over Cooper Rush and company. 3 interceptions of Cooper Rush. 2 of them by Jalen Petrie, who also absolutely stuffed Derrick Henry at one point in this game. Loved what I saw out of the Texans offense because I've been waiting to see that for a while. But to see the Texans hold Derrick Henry to 15 carries for 33 yards and a touchdown, that is a continuation of Derrick Henry and his performances against DeMeco Ryans-led Texans teams. But we all know that Derrick Henry has some insane numbers against the Texans over the course of his career. If you take a look at his career splits, Henry, in his career against the Texans, over 16 games, has 295 carries for 1,611 yards and 14 touchdowns. He averages 5.46 yards per carry against the Texans. The only team he has a higher yards per carry average against is the Buffalo Bills, and we saw that game a little bit earlier this year, where he had 125 carries over his career for 727 yards and 10 touchdowns against Buffalo. Henry's also done pretty well against the Jaguars. 5.41 yards carry against them. 15 games, 1,564 yards. Jesus Christ. The Texans held him in check. Definitely hurts Derrick Henry that he doesn't have Lamar Jackson under center for him. But the Texans took care of business. That was a whooping. And you got to hope this continues. More comments here. Football Ray says, I made a video of Philadelphia Eagles versus Denver Broncos. No one gives a shit. Gibby, are we back, Paul? I'm not going to say we're back. But I will play you this. Desert Stro says the Ravens are nothing more than Lamar Jackson, it seems. Their defense is bad now. It's just bad. How did it get so bad? Honestly, I couldn't tell you. But it is bad now. It used to be at the very least respectable. A lot of people liked them going into this season, including myself. They were my AFC pick. They might have been my Super Bowl pick too. I did not think the defense would be this bad. And while they are dealing with injuries, to be 32nd of 32 defenses in the league, goodness gracious. Dever Grant, what's up, MC Pauly G? Good 2 wins to finish for the bye. Do you think there will be any additions by subtractions to the squad and adjustments to the game plan all around? I mean, no, you want to keep doing what you did today, or yesterday. You want to have a balanced offensive attack where you're not too reliant on any one thing or one person. I know that people that play fantasy football, maybe you want a little more in the passing yardage department or in the receiving yardage department. None of that shit matters. If you're putting 44 points on the board, if you have a quarterback who has as many touchdown passes as he had incompletions, and then on top of that, if you as a team averaged 5.1 yards a carry, that's exactly what you want. Balance. Especially when the defense is the strength of your team. And that's what it is. Great game for Petrie, who had the 2 picks. Lassiter even had an interception himself. I know Azeez Al-Shaair looked a little dinged up in that game. And I'm sure that we were able to figure out what his status was going forward afterwards. Tiny Bites says, bro, Lamar was injured. LOL. Pipe down. Who's piping? Who's piping? Yeah, I think everyone knows that a 44-10 win over the Ravens, it's a win over a bad team that was also missing their starting quarterback. Grilling Cheese on TikTok says, how good did beating up on the Ravens feel? Not going to lie. That was top 5 win of the CJ Stroud era. Oh, come on. I don't know about that. And that's a bad team missing a lot of guys. I'm not going to go that far. Eric De La Cruz says, we need Joe Mixon. It would be nice, but I don't think he's going to be back this year. I think we're trending to that territory. Help Center says, Yankees rule. Aren't they about to get eliminated by the fucking Blue Jays? Poverty franchise. May as well not even make the playoffs if that's going to go down. Yeah, they lost 13-7 yesterday. And they are down 2-0 in that best-of-5 series. I thought Max Fried was supposed to be good. Only lasted 3 innings. Guess he sucks. Tiny Bite says the thumbnail is why I commented that. LOL. Okay. I mean, listen, the thumbnail game is the thumbnail game. You got to put stuff out there. You got to put stuff out there to get people excited. Ryan Lost in Texas says, now I am thinking about Allie Larder in a whipped cream bikini for some reason. Here's a controversial take. I think Allie Larder in Landman is more attractive than Allie Larder in Varsity Blues. Is that a crazy thing to say? Answer that for yourself. 281-836-3912. 281-836-3912. We're all pervs, aren't we? gallantsays@gmail.com. It's also how you send in some comments here. I did want to react to what was said after yesterday's game by both DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud. There's one specific CJ Stroud comment that I want to see because I'm kind of stunned by the amount of traction it seemed to get last week while I was in Oregon. And it kind of made me think a lot less of everybody in the content game. I can't believe how much traction this specific quote got. CJ Stroud, old. I'm just looking this up because I saw a lot of people like reading verbatim this quote right here. Houston Stressens, a.k.a. Texans commenter on X, so kindly pulled this for everybody. How did this blow up and become the stupid-ass story it became?
Yeah, I think just the program that I was on with Clint, it was really good for me. I was in here really early, just trying to, take a step forward in my, being 23. I'm not, fully in my grown man body all the way yet. I'm still growing every year. And I just think, I got to just continue to be hard on myself about not only just lifting weights, but eating the right foods. That's been a big thing, too. So, yeah, that's just a thing where I think the explosiveness comes from, being better with my diet, being better with, stretching, and, I feel like I'm getting old. So I'm not as quick as I used to be. I was watching my high school stuff a couple days ago. I was 180, and I was rolling. Well, not no more. But, yeah, I try to just be better with that stuff so I can run fast.
How did that quote blow up? Why was this a talking point all week? Clearly no one watched the entirety of that quote, but isn't that just a complete fucking nothing burger? What was that? Oh, CJ Stroud says he's getting older. CJ Stroud saying he lost a step. Well, he's not as quick as he was when he was a high schooler. Who is? Who is? Especially when you're a quarterback and that's not your primary job. How many pounds has he gained since then? 40, 50 pounds? And every single time I went on my phone, I saw those god-awful aggregator accounts acting like that was a big deal. Yeah, I'm getting older. I mean, it was annoying as a 36-year-old hearing somebody who's 24 saying I'm getting older, but people were, I think, looking at that and saying, oh, well, that's why CJ Stroud doesn't look like the CJ Stroud we thought he could be. And it was wild. Very weird how many legs that story had. I don't get it. Low-key Savage says clicks, that's why. I know, but why are there clicks for that? It's fucking stupid. And he's also smirking as he says this. Bizarre. I know he addressed it after the game. We'll play those comments, and then we're just going to react to what we heard from DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud after the game. And I think DeMeco also spoke today. So let's go to the Houston Texans channel. Paul, did you not do a lot of prep? Nah, my flight got in really late last night. I didn't get home until we got back at midnight. And I'm not going to lie. Jet lag is real. Even if you're going to the West Coast, it's weird. It's really weird to be traveling all day. And even if you're not driving, the amount of fatigue you feel from a 5-hour drive, plus going to an airport, plus one leg of a flight from Portland to San Diego layover, plus another leg from San Diego to Houston. It is amazing how much that'll take out of you. And I'll be honest, I've been sleeping a lot of the last 8, 9, 10 hours or so. Got up in time. I was starting to watch this game back, and I was falling asleep again. Anyway, Here is from yesterday's press conference, CJ Stroud talking about those comments where he had mentioned that he's getting older. Here is the starting quarterback of your Houston Texans. Oh, wait, I got to unmute it. We're not going to throw any coffee mugs today. Nope, not doing that.
CJ, leading up to the day, you had a press conference saying that when you use your legs, you feel like you're old.
That's not what I said.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to misquote.
You're good.
Yeah, but saying you feel you getting older using your legs. You had a big game today for about 20. You still feel that way?
I was literally joking. You know, everybody takes everything out of context nowadays, but it's all good. You know, I'm, you know, and if you watch the video or watch the press, I literally said I'm not in my grown man body yet, and I'm not going to go there. It's all good. But
he should have gone there. He actually should have. That story was mind-numbingly fucking stupid. It was so dumb. You know what? I'm even going to call it something else. I'm pulling this out. I have to turn this into a drop so that going forward, we can just play this whenever we want to say a word that I think would probably get me in trouble. Why is my cat, by the way? Here's my cat says hello. What do you want? I know you missed me. I know. But can you wait? Can you wait a little bit? Here is the clip that we are going to play. And I'm not talking about CJ Stroud here. This clip is in reference to all the men in sports media who decided to make a big deal out of that Nothing Burger quote last week. Okay? As once said by Chris Broussard.
Is the man retarded? Let me apologize for using that word. Oh. I have my first cousin. We just put him to, he died a few months ago.
That was my favorite random moment from a Speak for Your Pizza TV show. Anyway. All right, no, you can't, baby, you can't step on that. You can't step on that. No, you can't. I don't know if you guys can see the cat. The cat is just standing right in front of the computer monitor right now. What are you doing, hon? You just want back scratches? All right. Well, since she's hanging out with me, well, let's just go and watch this entire press conference after yesterday's game. Let's hear what D'Amico Ryans had to say, and let's hear what CJ Stroud had to say. Here's the head coach of the Houston Texans.
I'm saying first and foremost, just all glory, honor, and praise to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Just thankful for the grace that we've been shown. Yeah, just what we're able to do, what we get to do. Proud of all of our guys for the way they showed up today and executed in all three phases of the game. Guys played the game the right way. We finished it the right way, and couldn't be more proud of everyone, just as an organization, for us to come up here and get our first win in Baltimore. You know, it means a lot to a lot of people here, and proud for all of our guys to be able to be a part of that.
You know, it's very minor thing, and to all those out there who have faith, shout out to you. I wish I still had mine. Hearing D'Amico open up his press conference, thanking the big man upstairs, that is a sign that things are great in that locker room. Because he went away from doing that for a while. I think CJ Stroud went away from doing that for a while as well. We'll see at the beginning of Stroud's press conference if he did that. Thanking the man upstairs. Perhaps instead of being there for our beloved Houston Astros, the man upstairs is now turning his attention towards the Texans. What do we say about that?
God Wilson! God Wilson! God Wilson!
We do like that. All right, Arya, you got to get out of the way. You got to get out of the way, sweetie. More from D'Amico Ryans at his press conference.
CJ, 4 touchdown passes and completed almost every throw. What did you see from him and how he executed and ran the offense?
What I saw from CJ today was his demeanor. He was very calm. He's very under control the entire game, right? Didn't get flustered. They got back there on a couple plays. He didn't allow that to fluster him. He continued to press forward, continue to make plays, make great decisions with the football. So I'm just proud of him having the resolve to just continue to push through. He had a nice rush there to get us in the red zone. He just made smart plays with the football all day.
He should be proud. He played a hell of a game. I get that Ravens defense is the worst in the NFL, but Stroud had a hell of a game out there. Statistically, that's one of his best. 4 incompletions, 4 touchdown passes, sacked just twice. He had a scramble for 30 yards too. Spread the ball around. It wasn't all Nico Collins. I mean, it's the Ravens defense. And it took them a really long time to get going against a Titans team that I thought had quit on the season until yesterday. Now you got to look at the Cardinals and Jonathan Gannon and Mr. Shots. Shoom, 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 with a bit of a side eye. But this was big. And we will see if he is able to do this on the other side of the bye week in Seattle against a Seahawks team that Baker Mayfield showed you can definitely throw on, even though they've got some talent there. More Texans head coach D'Amico Ryans.
How much of this was about you all just executing what you need to do and blocking out everything as far as coming into this game with the Ravens injuries? How much of it just focusing on what you all need to do?
It's always all about us and our focus. And no matter who we're playing, no matter where we're playing, if we're locked in the right way and we execute, we do the things that are required to win football games, like that's what it looks like. No matter who you're going against, like when you play the right way and you execute, that's what it should look like.
Yes, I concur. Great point. Great point.
As you feel about the wall you guys go through, also using that 5 defensive line in the line?
Yeah, for us defensively, that was our main goal. We knew we had to stop the run. We knew Derrick Henry would get more touches. He would try to get more opportunities. And our guys did a really nice job starting up front with our defensive line. Our tackles played really well. Our ends set the edge, and we tackled really well. Really got to watch the film, but just watching it from the sideline, I felt us tackle much better as a team. And it was multiple guys at the ball every single time they ran the ball. So I'm very proud of us. And as we go throughout the season, the one thing I implore our team about is let's just get better. Like each and every week, let's just get a little bit better each and every week, and our team will continue to get stronger.
Tackling can't be any worse. Really can't be. So it was nice to see them take care of business against a guy in Derrick Henry who, once he does get ahead of steam, I mean, he is a pain in the ass to take down. All you can do is take one step at a time over the course of a long season. I thought it would take the Texans offense some time to get going, but the defense, from a tackling perspective, that should never be a problem. I am curious about the defense going forward. How banged up is Azeez Al-Shaair? What's going on with Christian Harris, who was inactive, and a lot of people were hoping would make a big impact when he came back. More Texans head coach D'Amico Ryans after yesterday's 44-10 win.
Can you talk about what you guys did up front today offensively? Pretty good job of keeping CJ upright for the most part, and some changes.
Yeah, offensively, I thought our offensive line did a really nice job of protecting. CJ had a lot of time in the pocket to make those decisions and make the good throws that he made. So really proud of those guys, and also running the football. Like, we were able to run for over, 160 yards for us to run the ball that way. It's a credit to our offensive line. It all starts there. Tight ends, receivers, everybody getting involved in blocking and staying with it. And our backs did another great job again this week.
D'Amico, what does it take?
Yes, I agree, D'Amico. I'm not going to lie, I'm starting to space out. I forgot that we probably got to move away from responding and watching press conferences together.
I think CJ hit 10 different targets today. What does that tell you about where he is in his progression with the offense? And he looked very, as you were, comfortable in rhythm all day long, that wide of a right.
Yeah, I love to see him spreading the ball around to multiple guys, everybody getting involved, and that just shows his growth. Where we're not just looking for one guy. He's going through his progressions. He's playing the play, and whatever is there, he's taking it. And our playmakers, when they're getting the football in their hand, they're making plays. They're converting first downs, keeping us on the field, allowing us to sustain drives. So love that he was able to dish it around to multiple guys today.
I do too.
What would you say even about Nick Caley's growth? Is this what you expected of him when you hired him?
Caley's done a great job, and it didn't show the first weeks. And because we didn't execute well. Like, we came out today and guys executed. We run our offense the right way. We run our defense, our special teams. When we do it the right way, it's what we're capable of doing. We just have to stay the course, everybody, and continue to get better. That's coaches, that's players, everybody. And we're all in this together. We're all growing. We're all getting better as the season continues to go along.
Yeah. You want it all right away. This is not to whitewash the first 3 weeks of the year. But everyone wants to see this team go out there and blow people out of the water. Not just a Titans team or a Ravens team with a lot of injuries. You want to see this offense rolling on all cylinders from the beginning of the season. It's just tough to do that. It's not making excuses. There are certainly some things to fairly criticize Nick Caley, C.J. Stroud, the offensive line, the receivers for Stroud as well. Everyone bears some blame, shares some blame for what we saw, just the complete nature of the offense the first couple of weeks of the year. But you have to expect that things will improve when it's a team that seems to have mentally tough players in the locker room, team first guys in the locker room. I mean, they got rid of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They've tried it before with guys who don't fit the culture, but you would expect a team coached by this guy, even if you're not sure where he ranks among the best coaches in the league, to continue to try and improve over the course of a year. And it's going to come slowly on the offensive side of things. I wonder how much better the defense can get, but you got to feel really encouraged with what you've seen from this defense 5 weeks into the year. I do think it's one of the best in the league. You should as well. More comments from D'Amico Ryans after the Texans' 44-10 win yesterday.
Talk about takeaways. Excuse me, you guys had a few of those today, especially talk about that.
Petrie, outstanding game. He's known for flying around, blitzing, and being in the opponent's backfield a lot. But the way he showed up around the football today, for him to get, take the ball away 2 times, man, that's outstanding by him. He has 3 on the year. Proud of him and what he's doing. He's all over the field, creating chaos, and Kamari goes in and closes the game out for us right on the go ball. So outstanding job. I was happy for Kamari to finally get one. I talked about it throughout the week. He did it in practice all throughout the week and came up short, got a couple pass deflections a couple times, but now to see him actually get it, I was very proud of him for that because he's worked hard at it for the past 2 weeks. So to finally see it come to fruition, that was cool. Cool.
Interesting points about Lassiter at the end. I've been waiting for Lassiter to make that big play. I actually got in an argument with somebody who was saying, hey, Deron Bland, who just got paid by the Cowboys this offseason, which is weird because they'd moved on from Micah Parsons. Why not pay him? Deron Bland, who had a lot of pick sixes a couple of years ago, got paid by the Cowboys. I saw that, and I was like, well, I think Kamari Lassiter's a better corner than him, but where's the production been? And watch early on in this game, that throw where he's caught holding DeAndre Hopkins. He tries to break on the ball, goes right over his head. And you're thinking to yourself, man, what's up with Lassiter? Is this a bit of a sophomore slump for him? Been waiting for Kalen Bullock to step up as well at safety. But he did get the interception later. So I think with the way D'Amico's talking about it there, maybe he got the sense that Lassiter's pressing a bit, but actually thinks he's been practicing well and that eventually the results will show up on the field. As far as Petrie goes, Petrie played his ass off yesterday. I mean, that's the best Petrie's looked since his rookie season. And it's not to say that we haven't seen, every now and then, plays by Petrie, which you like. Coverage, yeah, there are some issues, as my cat once again jumps up on the screen. Can you please stop? I love you, but can you please stop? But bringing it back to Petrie, he's one of those guys in the box. You know what he can bring to the table. But he's also one of those guys, and this is what I think is the sign of a good safety. Are you in the right spot? Are you in the right spot to make a play a lot? Not just to tackle, but also to make the occasional interception. And you saw that a lot his rookie season. And you haven't really seen it that much since he was so productive as a rookie, getting all of those interceptions. the hope is that he can continue to make those kind of plays. And I thought it was a great comments, a couple of comments here. Trey of Texas says, Petrie should send his game ball to C.J. Gardner-Johnson with a note, quote, still earning that paycheck, end quote. That would be funny. I do like that the Texans are just flushing the C.J. Gardner-Johnson experience down the toilet and are perhaps moving on and not thinking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson anymore. I don't want people to be petty like me, remembering some slight from 4 to 5 years ago that the person who committed the slight doesn't remember. I don't want any of that. I think there were some fair points made by C.J. Gardner-Johnson about how much Petrie is making, considering the lack of playmaking he was making out there. But then you watch this game, and you feel damn good. Jake Richardson, Andrew Lowe talking about the old days, the glory days back on the radio. Yeah, might be back on the radio in the semi-near future. Andrew Lowe comments on YouTube. It's hilarious. This team has allowed 14, 20, 17, 0, and 10. And we could talk about how players on this defense are looking worse and need to play better. That's because of the high standard that we have for the defense. Some people got mad at a TikTok recap in a nutshell that I did after Texans Buccaneers saying, this guy's takes fucking stupid. Like, well, the offense, I'm hoping, will eventually get to a point where we all like it by the end of the year. The defense I have the highest expectations for, and everyone should have high expectations there. Trey of Texas brings up that Petrie had some good tackles too, not just the picks. He had a good game. Yeah, he put Derrick Henry on his ass on one play. That was impressive. Some comments here. Let's read what's going on the TikTok side of things. Shout out to all the people who joined who have followed on TikTok. Boats and Hose Storage says Stroud has a low ceiling. That's just wrong. Cal says the Texans didn't make excuses when they were injured. So enjoy this loss, Baltimore. Okay, fair enough. Shawno asks, how was Woody Marks looking? Not so great. This wasn't a great performance by Woody Marks. I think for all those people who were hoping that Woody Marks was going to take over as the bell cow running back for the Texans, yeah, like you got another thing coming. Justin Texas comments, what happened with C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Jalen Petrie? Well, when C.J. Gardner-Johnson got cut by the Texans, DJ Bieneme put out a report talking about some of the things that the Texans were sick of. And apparently, C.J. Gardner-Johnson was complaining about his role defensively. He wanted to do what Jalen Petrie was doing. He also, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, was complaining about the salary that Petrie had because he didn't think he deserved it. So it seemed like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, immediately upon joining the Texans, had a random amount of resentment towards Petrie. Petrie has a big game today, so good for him, because he's been handling this rather classily. And he should continue to do it. No benefit to talking shit after a big game like this. More D'Amico Ryans after the game.
Go ahead, sir. Coach, with the way that the season started, how good does it feel going into this bye week with back-to-back wins like this?
Yeah, you always want to go in the bye week with a win. It's much better when you roll in with a win, and we'll get a chance to take a breather here, reset. And I want our guys to feel like where we are as a team over the past 2 weeks. Like, remember that feeling. Remember what it feels like, and not the outcome. You got to remember that process. Like, how do we work to get here? How was your week of practice? How was your week of preparation? Like, that's where our guys, right, have done an outstanding job these past 2 weeks. And when we come back on the next week, I expect the same thing. So I'm proud of the guys for how they prepare and how they work throughout the week. The results will take care of themselves.
Whatever the hell they did in practice, yeah, they maybe need to study that during the off week. D'Amico Ryans, Nick Caley, Matt Burke. Everyone's got to figure out what it was that they did leading up to this game. Yes, against an undermanned Baltimore Ravens team that had Cooper Rush under center, for God's sake. But everything was clicking yesterday, specifically offensively. It's not like Lamar Jackson's playing defense out there, too. And I know the Ravens have the 32nd ranked defense in the league, and they were missing some guys, too. But whatever the hell happened in practice this week, I hope there were cameras. I hope that notes were taken as well. Ultimate Fan says Victory Monday. Let's go.
And we're ready to play.
Raza asks on TikTok, was CJ Gardner-Johnson the problem on the Texans? I've seen a couple of people asking that question. Should D'Amico Ryans have turned over duties to Matt Burke earlier as well? No, I think they're playing two teams that their defense can easily destroy, which is a credit to the Texans defense, one of the best in the league, and also is a reflection of those two teams that they played against, who are not particularly good. World of Warcraft Spartacus says the defense for the Texans is completely different without Jalen Petrie. We saw that last year after we went down. That's why he's getting the big bucks. I agree with you there. They did play well against the Chiefs in that playoff game, for what it's worth. They just could not figure out how to stop Travis Kelce. You know? Anyway, Justin, Texas says, based on the schedule left, where do you think the Texans end up? They are trending upwards. I don't like making predictions. I really don't. I feel like they age poorly, and anyone can pull one out of your ass and say, yeah, this is what they're going to be the rest of the way. And then they're going to pat themselves on the back if they end up right. They're probably going to end up wrong. So I feel very encouraged. I don't take too much out of this win over Baltimore from they just kicked those Ravens' ass. I mean, we all know what that Ravens team was yesterday, but the Texans themselves should be very happy with what they did on the field. More D'Amico Ryans yesterday.
Preseason and offseason, you called Xavier Hutchinson one of the most improved guys on the team. And now today gets in the end zone for the first 2 times of his career.
Man, Hutch is the guy who's just shown like what hard work looks like. Like you don't get a lot of credit. He's getting better in the background. A lot of people don't see it, but Hutch is one of the hardest working guys on our team, and there's no better guy to be able to get 2 touchdowns a day than Hutch because he's worked really hard for us. So proud of him for having his moment today.
Same.
I know you always talk about looking forward and not worrying about last year.
Right.
I think most of us do remember that Christmas Day game. It didn't go so well. And you just talk about being able to get beyond that and also the first win in Baltimore.
Yeah, that game last year is hard one to watch. I had to go back and watch it, and I had to face it. Like we did not play well enough, did not stop the run, and so we did not score enough points. We didn't do anything well on that game, and it was a disappointing game for how we showed up. But you can't dwell on that. It was different teams, new year, new season. Like it's just about us and this year, this team, and how do we prepare? How do we get better? How we come out and finish the game, and that's what stuck out to me the most, like how everybody did what they needed to do. And that's what I'm proud of. That's what's going to continue to propel us forward.
I agree on that front, though I do want to say one last time, that 31-2 loss on Christmas was the worst fucking thing that ever happened to this team. And it was my worst experience covering sports in my life. I chose to watch that game, cover that game, instead of see my family for Christmas. Also, I'm not the biggest Beyonce fan. I guess the concert was good. It was cool to see the concert from the 800 levels at NRG Stadium. It was cool, I guess. But, I mean, I really was patient. I was really patient that game. I even thought to myself, second half, what if CJ Stroud and company pulled this one off? No, they lost 31-2. Oh. So I'm glad D'Amico went back and watched the film of that, because I do think you have to stew in that a little bit. It's a complete non-energy performance. So to come out there and to run up the score and to even have Jalen Knowles' moment where he's doing the Ray Lewis schizophrenic obstruction of justice dance, I loved it. And then Jair Alexander trying to take the football away. Just an embarrassing look for the Ravens. And as somebody who has grown up respecting but not liking the Ravens, I like to see other teams put a whooping on them. John Harbaugh, a little overrated as a head coach. More comments. Dave says, hashtag free Gallant. Well, I am free now. Free to work for anybody. Lalo89 says, I think anyone can beat the Ravens. Those Ravens with Cooper Rush, yes. I agree with you there. Amador Rodriguez says, Beyonce was our curse. Dave says, dance on the Ravens' grave. Listen, 1-4, I'm not dancing on Baltimore's grave. If they get Lamar Jackson back, we've seen the Bengals pull themselves out of early season pants poopages before. We don't think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens can do this, you know? More comments here on YouTube at Paul Gallant. I like this one from Andrew. I like this one. I think I know what Andrew is referencing here. But there's a really funny clip in one of my favorite movies, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, that I believe he is referencing here when he says, Super Bowl is back on the menu. I like to think at least he's referring to this clip from Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
Yeah, meat is back on the menu. And so I don't know if a Super Bowl is, but it was nice to see that. Very nice to see that. More comments here. We'll continue to watch D'Amico Ryans together. So fun, isn't it, to watch a press conference? M. Gentles brought up how the Texans have the most missed tackles in the league, at least up till yesterday. Don't know if they still hold the grunt. They've missed a lot. They do swarm, but they don't always use their arms when they swarm. They don't always wrap up. You got to wrap up. Got to wrap up, kids. There we go. Any more comments that you got, bring them to the table. Instagram at Sports Gallant, TikTok at Gallant Says, YouTube at Paul Gallant, Twitch at Gallant Says, and on X/Twitter at Gallant Says Pod. More D'Amico Ryans after yesterday's 44-10 Texans win.
Going back and seeing that game, did you see that go back recently, or was that last year you were talking about?
No, I've went back this year and watched the game.
And can I ask you, like, as you're watching that, you know, I know you said it was tough to watch, but is that motivating you, or how are you looking at that? Is it just to...
No, it's not motivating me. I know what happened, know the feeling from how that game played out. Just going back through and just really just as a coach, just going through the process of schematically, like what are some things and challenges that they executed on really well that we needed to fix. So that's what all coaches do, that through any time you go through, you face an opponent another time. So it's just going, for me as a coach, just going through the process. A lot of crying, a lot of laughing watching that game.
More crying. I think there was more crying personally. Should have been more crying. Yeah, Jeffrey, I'm a huge Lord of the Ring guy. Rings. I'm not even kidding. Last night, while the girlfriend was getting ready for bed, I went out to watch like 5 minutes of the extended edition of Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring. I watch the extended edition of those movies on HBO Max once a year, without fail. Sometimes more. More comments here. Rixo asks on TikTok, do you think the Colts will crumble when going against a contending team? Probably, but I mean, they're off to a really impressive start. 0000 says, F the cheat Stros, real original, and the Texans. I'm very curious as to who you root for, sir. I don't understand why you come in here with this negative energy. This is the most positive live stream on the internet. And you come here and you bring up that kind of energy. I'll be honest. I don't like that kind of thing. I just don't. Okay? So watch it.
And I don't like that kind of thing.
Watch it, Buster. More what I do like, D'Amico Ryans. Look at that smile. Look how happy he is.
Last one, sir. Coach, you talk about resiliency a lot. After the Ravens were able to get that big 56-yard pass to Zay Flowers, they went and they scored again. the offense turned right back around and had a 47-yard pass, and then they end up scoring with Jalen Hall getting his first touchdown. Did you just see that type of resiliency from your team today to just keep their foot on the gas and keep going?
Yeah, I saw it. It was a disappointing play for us defensively. We got to stay on top. One of our main goals as well when it comes to stopping the run, we know this team is an explosive team, so we got to be on top. We got to make sure we don't give up that play, and we got to stand up on the goal line and not let them in. So there's some things to learn from. We can get better there. Defensively, is always room to improve, always things to grow from. But I'm happy where you felt like, they can possibly get some momentum, but our guys' offense came out and shut it down really quickly. So proud of us for playing as guys.
We're hoping. All right, I had some issues at the end of that press conference, but there you go. That was D'Amico Ryans. Hang on a second. My cat is actually, I'm not even kidding. My cat is biting wires. No. Don't hiss at me. Don't you dare hiss at me. Don't you hiss at me. I get it. You missed me. I get that you missed me, but you gotta go. BRB, everybody. Get out. Get the fuck out. Oh, goodness gracious, everybody. Let's read some comments here. We'll get to CJ Stroud in a moment, but I do want to read some comments. WKDZD says on Instagram, Paul, I can't watch these other Houston radio dorks. Keep going, PG. Well, I'm going to keep doing this. Also, I don't know if I can call anyone a radio dork when I just borderline autistically pulled a clip from Lord of the Rings to the table of this show mid live stream. I don't know. I don't know if I can call any of these other shows dorks. But I appreciate everybody hanging out with me. Prince on TikTok says they need to work on incorporating Woody more going into the bye week. I mean, look, they tried to work him in yesterday. Nick Chubb was just better. They gave him plenty of work. You sound like somebody that might have fantasy football interests behind that desire. JD93 says, yes, sir, go everything. Houston, Rockets, Astros, Texans. Definitely looking forward to Rockets basketball tipping off soon. Hasn't it been nice to not watch baseball? Does anyone else feel that way? Personally, I feel that way. I know a lot of people were saying that at the end of the year, and I thought it was a little bit lame. But now, seeing how melodramatic every fucking fan base is that is in baseball's playoffs for the first time, reacting to every game. Like Yankees fans think the season's over. What? You're down just 2-0 to a team in fucking Toronto. The Blue Jays are basically baseball's Los Angeles Chargers. Like they got cool uniforms and they got names, and the big moments they're gonna blow it. And then Mariners fans were really upset after losing game 1. Guys, playoff baseball's tough. You're either built for it or you're not. The Astros were built for it for a while. It's funny seeing just the melodrama and overreactions to one game. Goodness gracious. What's the word on Mixon, asks Rudy Roo. I don't think he's going to be back this year. I don't think he's going to be back. What else do we have here before we hear from CJ Stroud? Jeffrey Smith says, let's not have a National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation moment on the live stream. Be safe, kitty. Yeah, I don't want fried cat in the GallantSays.com studios. Junior Bronco says, breaking, Arch Manning to enter the portal and transfer to Syracuse. Honestly, Syracuse got smoked. The backup quarterback to Steve Angeli is not very good. So Syracuse football, probably not so fun. I'm mad that Florida won. I was texting my Texas fan friends because I didn't get to watch the game. I was basically on a step in Eastern Oregon for a wedding. Had like cowboy garb on and everything. And I was texting my Texas fan friends like, hey, can you guys figure this shit out so that the Gators will fire Billy Napier? Ugh. Anyway. Andrew Lowe says, need an ACV collab with Stutz and Locker. Maybe. I think that, I don't know that they like my style. I think they're a little more, I think they're a little more football centric. And obviously they got a rapport too. I don't want to force myself on them. But if they were to invite me, I would. And honestly, by the way, I'm not too good for anything right now, clearly. So you want to bring me aboard your show, just send me an email to gallantsays@gmail.com. And if I check my email and respond, I might actually take you up on it. We got CJ Stroud now at the podium after yesterday's game. Here is the starting quarterback for your Houston Texans after their 44-10 win over the Ravens yesterday.
CJ, Coach was saying that one of the things that was most proud of you about today was your calm demeanor and your ability to scan the field and read the progressions. I think you get 10 different receivers. Can you talk a little bit about that today?
Yeah, our O-lineman did a great job, and that's where it starts. I think I'm one of the best, when I get the time and I can deal it out. And our O-line did amazing this game, and when that happens, Kels is calling a great game, and our receivers running really good routes. We've been getting better at practice every week, and I think that's where you see the growth. But yeah, it really starts with him.
Good for the offensive line. Ravens are undermanned on defense, so you don't get too cocky about the offensive performance. But, I mean, that's the biggest question mark on this team. They had a rough moment early on where on third down, Stroud gets sacked, and it leads to a 50-yard Kaimi Fairbairn field goal attempt. That was a very familiar sight. Stroud getting sacked on that third down. You're wondering, oh, God, is this going to be another one of those games where the Texans get just on the border of the red zone and have to stick to long field goals? But no, the offensive line did a pretty good job bouncing back from that sack in pass protection and in paving the way for a pretty good game for Nick Chubb. More CJ Stroud after the game.
You know what you're capable of. You know what your team is capable of. So having seen what you all did, how satisfying is it to see that come to fruition?
Yeah, it's very, it's you always want to, see your proof in the pudding, and you want to take a step forward every game. So I thought, today we did that in a lot of ways. Still got to clean some things up, but I'm happy with the win, very grateful. Just to really have an opportunity to play in Baltimore again, get a dub. First time in our organization's history to win up here, So, I mean, God's great, man. It's just amazing, to be on this team in his locker room. And so all the things that we need to get better, we'll get better. But it's good to enjoy it.
ADD moment. Don't judge me. When did the saying "proof is in the pudding" start? I'm curious. The phrase "proof is in the pudding" evolved from the earlier saying "the proof of the pudding is in the eating," with the original form appearing in William Camden's Remains Concerning Britain in 1605. God damn. The original concept can be traced back to the 14th century with the Old English phrase, "JT is why right that Uri thing himself sheweth in the tasting," meaning it is written that everything shows itself in the tasting. In 1605, English antiquarian William Camden wrote, all the proof of a pudding is in the eating. Wait, I got to say this like a limey. All the proof of the pudding is in the eating, which is the earliest known written reference in the English language. 17th and 18th century. The longer phrase was used by writers like Miguel de Cervantes in Don Quixote, though his phrase was originally Spanish. You will see it when you fry the eggs. 19th and 20th century, the phrase began to be shortened. The shorter version, the proof is in the pudding, became widely adopted in the United States in the 1950s. The original phrase, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, was literal pudding. In that era, it was a dish of minced meat, spices, and grains, often in a sausage-like casing, so its quality could only be determined by tasting it. The phrase signifies that the truth, effectiveness, or quality of something can only be judged by trying it or experiencing it firsthand, not just by its appearance or claims. Okay. That makes sense. CJ used that phrase effectively there. You can only see if the offensive line's good if they're out there in the midst of a game. More from CJ Stroud after yesterday's press conference.
You guys scored on the first 8 possessions that you guys had offensively. Talk about that and the fact that you were able to move the ball around to so many people.
Yeah, that was one of our keys to victory, sustain drives and score in the end zone. And in any way we wanted to score points. So I thought we did a good job really on first down and giving, Kels a good opportunity to call good plays, in second and short and third and short, and then we managed those situations really well. But yeah, I thought that's the key to those are the keys to victory every week. Is to be really good on first down, and you get those opportunities when you got the third and shorts, and you can execute a little easier when it's third and short.
That is true. I agree. It's a lot easier to execute when it's third and short. Also, it's so rare that we see third and short. That it makes you forget that. Paul, what a great point. I'm just responding to what CJ Stroud's saying, okay, man? I'm just responding to what CJ's saying. More from CJ Stroud after yesterday's 44-10 win over the Ravens.
You had a press conference saying that when you use your legs, you feel like you're old.
That's not what I said.
We responded to that clip. Look at the disgust on his face. He was so annoyed by that question. And he should have been. That storyline was so fucking stupid last week. I'm sick that we had to go through it. I wasn't even a part of the Take Industrial Complex last week because I was on vacation hanging out with the girlfriend up in Oregon. But that fucking storyline drove me crazy.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to misquote.
You're good.
Yeah, but say you feel you're getting older and using your legs. You had a big game today for about 20. You still doing that one?
I was literally joking. Everybody takes everything out of context nowadays, but it's all good. I'm and if you watch the video or watch the press, I literally said I'm not in my grown man body yet, and I'm not gonna go there. It's all good. But yeah, I feel great, man. I think my strength staff has done a great job with not only just me but our team. We're moving guys. Our O-line looks great. We're running fast on the outside. I'm a part of that, I think I'm a pretty athletic guy. But yeah, I was literally just playing. If you can see, I'm tapping my finger, just messing around. But everybody, always takes everything so serious. But yeah, it's all good. Yes, I feel like I'm, when I use my legs, I feel like I'm pretty dynamic.
Can you believe how much time they spent on that? What else do we have comment-wise? Rick Hagewood asks about Blake Fisher and the jumbo package. Someone on TikTok had brought that up as well. I don't know if they're going to throw it to Blake Fisher in the jumbo package, and I would hope not, because if they drop it, then you accuse Nick Caley of being too cute. And I don't know if I want to see anything too cute from Nick Caley at this moment in time. I just want meat and potatoes, Some weird ass comments. Andrew Lowe says, Paul with a girlfriend, X for doubt. You don't know her. She goes to another school. There are photos. It has been 6 months that we have been seeing each other. Met her dad, who's awesome. He played football at Portland State back in the day. It was fun watching football with him. Met her mom. She's also awesome. Her bro, her sister-in-law, their 2 kids, and her family. And it was so funny going to this wedding that was in Eastern Oregon, which, you know, you think of Oregon, you probably think of Portland, you probably think of forests. Eastern Oregon and Eastern Washington, it's just plains and desert. So we went to this wedding that was way high up on, I guess, either a really big hill or a step or something. At a cabin, there was a wild horse that kept on like wandering close to where the ceremony was, and then wandering away. And here I am. I've got my cowboy hat. I have a Kimosabe cowboy hat. I did not buy it. I have this Levi's jean jacket on. I have this outrageously loud, low-key Brokeback looking button down on, and jeans and boots. And I'm standing there and I'm wondering the whole time, God, these people must think I'm such a fucking fraud. All of her family, all of her cousins who are from Eastern Oregon in this town called Pendleton, where there's a huge rodeo every single year. You remember what I used to do? If you're listening to me on the radio, I used to endorse Pendleton whiskey. And yeah, I drove by where the Pendleton Roundup takes place. It's this cool-ass red arena. We went to downtown Pendleton later that night. It was very cool, but I felt when I'm dressed up, wearing what I wear at a rodeo, and I'm around people who are actually about that life, it's the whole time I had imposter syndrome, the entire time. Anyway, more comments on YouTube. Esau0912 says Texans easily could be 4-1. They could easily be 5-0, a couple of plays away from that. Also, you know, they didn't make those plays, so they're 2-3. A cooked individual asks, do you believe the Texans are good? Well, who's good at this moment? Who's good? Do you think the Patriots are good? I like the Patriots. They're my favorite team growing up. That win over the Bills last night was awesome. I think Drake May's good. I also think the Bills shot themselves in the foot a lot last night. I think the Bills are the reason the Bills lost last night. More than I think that the Patriots have taken this like big step forward, you know? So I think at this moment in time, there's a lot of teams that are figuring themselves out. Are the Eagles bad because they finally lost? You know? These are all things you got to wonder about. So I think they're trending in the right direction. Would I say good at this moment in time after taking 3 quarters to get going against the Titans and after beating up an undermanned Baltimore team? Right now, I'm not saying yes. But, I mean, they are hitting the bye week at a pretty good time. Though, there's a part of me that wishes on the heels of this win that they would have another game to potentially keep this momentum going forward after winning 44-10. Vicarious 4-6-2 says Marks and Knoll have been on my radar for blow-up status since the preseason. Talking about fantasy football there, I think. B. Hannon asks, Broncos good. I'm not really a Bo Nix guy. I know that I know the Broncos beat the Eagles yesterday. I think the Broncos defense is good. I don't really buy Bo Nix, though, you know? Andrew Lowe says, I was dressed as a Houston rodeo attendee. But I am on a committee. Okay, motherfucker? I'm so Western. I'm so Texan. Absolutely. Jamie Consuela says, I want to see your real man body. Well, you got to Venmo for that. And like a lot. A lot. And then I'd have to ask permission from the girlfriend. Tay comments, with the play yesterday didn't show that they were back. Shows the offense has the capabilities to keep up with the defense. Right. That's what makes me mad about last year. I mean, this entire time, they've been capable of more offensively, and we finally see it all put together in one game. And whether that's due to Nick Caley, the offensive coordinator, or the new offensive line coach, CJ Stroud, a year older, I don't know. But you should be feeling good about yesterday, and now put it in the rearview mirror, kick your feet up, enjoy the bye week, and we'll see on the other side against a Seattle team that is definitely on their level. If they can go to Seattle, tough place to play, in a late-ass game, 9 p.m., I think, local time, are they going to be able to win then? We shall see. Javi Good Times asks, how was Portland? I did not go to Portland. I drove through it. Apparently there was a nude bike protest of some sorts, but yeah. Tay says, everyone's saying it's an undermanned Baltimore team. Seems to be negating the fact that those are still NFL players that shouldn't be taken lightly. Look at the Niners skeleton crew that they played with. Yeah, but I mean, it's Lamar Jackson to Cooper Rush, you know? Like, Mac Jones is a better backup for Brock Purdy than Cooper fucking Rush. And there's a lot of other guys missing. And also, the Ravens, they stink this year. I mean, I don't know if Marlon Humphrey's doing his podcast anymore, but like, he should be. Jeffrey Smith says, one does not simply walk into Baltimore. It is a gift. It is a gift to walk into Baltimore when they don't have Lamar Jackson. More from CJ Stroud. Let's wrap up this press conference. I don't know if D'Amico spoke today yet.
CJ, I know that coaches and players are forward-looking, right? But how much of the past, like the fact that you guys hadn't won in Baltimore and what Baltimore did to you last year in Houston, how much of that did you think about, or was that a motivating factor coming in today?
I mean, I think in the back of your mind, it's always there. That we really haven't had success against these guys in a long time. But I think, it's the preparation that gets the win. I think that's what we prepared our tails off this week. I thought our preparation from practice to meetings to walkthroughs, everything was really crisp, on point. And I think it doesn't matter, who's out there when you have that type of preparation. Of course, they're missing guys. That's obvious. And I think they'll be just fine once they get their guys back. But, I think it's just big because we had the same problem last year when we played them. We had a lot of guys out on Christmas Day, and they gave us an old-fashioned. So I think it's cool to kind of come back here and kind of do the same thing. But I think the motivation is just to prepare the right way and then play each play in 1-0.
Gave us an old-fashioned. I don't think he's talking about the drink. Gave us an old-fashioned. I hope he's not talking about the old-fashioned in South Park. I hope he's not talking about that. Remember the Shake Weight episode of South Park? Remember that? Well, I guess old-fashioned is a way that one could refer to a sexual maneuver, if you will. An old-fashioned. So I guess the Ravens gave the Texans an old-fashioned. An old-fashioned. CJ's definitely not seen South Park. I don't know if I can play this clip on the air. Fuck it.
What'd you say?
I can't sleep, Sharon. I'm in work mode.
Can I try something?
Oh, Sharon, what are you? Oh, wow. A nice old fashioned. That's.
Anyway. I think we're going to get right struck for playing that. More from D'Amico Ryans. CJ Stroud.
Jalen getting their first touchdown with his professionals, what that means for the young guys.
I think it's huge. We have a really young team. Got, rookie left tackle, Me and Jake are young, center quarterback. Trying to think of everybody, the receivers. You got young DBs. So I think that's good though, and we're playing good ball. I think, our coaching has been good. They've helped us with good coaching points week in and week out. But yeah, it's just huge to, see those two guys blossom, especially, their former teammates. For them to, play like they did today was huge, and really proud of them. And their continued growth and, effort every day at practice is paying off.
As one of the leaders, what are you hoping the team in general can take from this as you all head into the bye?
We can be really good, when we clean up mistakes, don't have a bunch of penalties, and play complementary football in 3 phases. I think this is what you get. So I think we're really close, man. We've always been close, but in this league, it doesn't matter when you're close. But you want to see production, you want to see wins, and so I think we'll be able to flip the script here coming these next couple weeks, and try to just finish October really well.
Was you feeling a little birthday swag or something?
I don't know. I'm grateful just to be 24, man, and I'm blessed, man. Guys are good. Just to be in this position is huge, and maybe, it rubbed off a little bit, but I'm just really grateful for the position guys put
Rubbed off after talking about old fashions.
me in, and then, this team, man, this city, and all the people who support me day to day, man, it means a bunch. Like, even on my birthday, it was a bunch of people texting me, telling me how much they appreciated me, they loved me. And I feel such like a flawed human. I'm not perfect in a lot of areas, but just to feel the love was huge. And I think maybe that kind of spilled out, this week.
Spilled out after an old-fashioned.
At this game, and man, I'm just grateful.
Can you talk about before you go, the offensive line, especially Tays and the young guy, how he's coming along with that tackle, just up front with your line today?
I think Tay's done a great job. First and foremost, his mentality, his effort. He has God-given talent, and it just takes some plays, and like I've told y'all before, it takes failure sometimes, and I wouldn't say he's had like failure moments. Everybody has one play here, one play there, but I thought he's done a great job of just weathering the storm, staying committed, staying rooted in what he believes in, and that's himself. And I'm just super grateful that he's on our team. He's going to be a great player in his league. And then the rest of our line does a great job. I thought our plan today was great. I thought Cole and Kels and Jerry Gerard, our whole offensive staff did a great job, with the plan. And then, Titus you've been huge, man. He's playing at I think an all-pro level, Pro Bowl level. And he's, looks great. He's holding it down the right. Our center, Jake is doing great. I think, all of them are doing really good. Ed looks great. Juice has filled in and done a good
He's just listing everybody.
Good job. So I can go on about those guys, man. I'm really proud of them, and we continue to grow. Thank you. All right.
So there you go. That's CJ Stroud after yesterday's 44-10 win. We are back. There will be another live stream tomorrow at noon. We're going to take a look at what was said at Houston Rockets Media Day, with Rockets season tipping off right around the corner. We'll react to whatever D'Amico Ryans had to say at today's press conference as well. Take a look at some things that went down over the weekend that are of interest to many. Big thanks to everybody who tuned in to watch this live show on YouTube at Paul Gallant, on Twitch at Gallant Says. If you're watching on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Same with Twitch. Spread the word on those two. Not just here. Tell your friends. And maybe, I don't know, go into other chat rooms with like-minded individuals and tell them, Paul Gallant is still alive. He's not dead. You can also follow me on X and Twitter at Gallant Says. At Gallant Says Pod is where I post clips of the show. Instagram at Sports Gallant. And on TikTok at Gallant Says. Give me a follow on both of those. The show will also happen occasionally at their major Houston sporting events and is available after the fact wherever you get your podcasts. So if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review me on Apple and on Spotify. Until tomorrow at noon Central, I am merely Paul Gallant. So long, farewell, and...
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu.